Welcome back, American coin hunter. When you hold a tiny piece of metal minted in the heart of the United States in 1981, what you are holding is much more than a 1-cent coin. You are holding a product of history, a creation of art and engineering, a mirror to the times in which it was made, a symbol of value wielded by millions of hands, and for some collectors around the world, a tangible link to the culture of numismatics, the passionate pursuit of coins not merely as currency, but as objects of beauty, history, and in rare cases, immense monetary value. The 1981 1-cent coin, often called the 1981 penny, is one of the most ubiquitous coins in everyday American circulation, yet beneath its commonplace appearance lies layers of fascination that stretch from its physical composition to its designs, from its cultural impact to the stories that make certain examples dramatically more valuable. The weight of this seemingly unremarkable coin, its symbol as the smallest denomination of United States currency, its imagery of revered founding fathers, its place within American monetary history, and the ways the collector's market perceives it, all contribute to a narrative that resonates through time. When we talk about the 1981 penny, at its most basic level we are talking about a 1-cent piece of legal tender, meant to represent 1/100th of a dollar. The face value is unpretentious, deceptively simple. 1 cent sounds almost negligible in contemporary financial terms. Pocket change is sometimes tossed into a jar or lost between cushions. But as we will explore in minute detail, the story of the 1981 cent stretches far beyond its face value. The very essence of this coin begins with its physical characteristics. In terms of weight, the 1981 cent weighs 3.11 grams, which is consistent with the copper-plated zinc composition introduced in 1982, but because 1981 was minted on the classic bronze planchet, it actually weighs 3.11 grams, composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. Its alloy and physical mass are the products of decades of metallurgical tradition in the United States Mint. Think for a moment about that metal. Copper, with its warm reddish hue and distinctive luster, was chosen because it provided not only a pleasing aesthetic but an enduring physical presence. The metal is soft enough to strike cleanly with detailed imagery, yet resilient enough to survive the wear and tear of daily circulation. When minted in 1981, these pennies bore the standard composition of U.S. cents of that era, a rich bronze alloy that conferred a satisfying heft and a slight reddish patina that coin enthusiasts often describe in almost poetic terms to the untrained eye. A 1981 penny might appear indistinguishable from 1,000 others jostling in a jar or rolling across a tabletop. But for numismatists, collectors, and students of coins, the weight is not just a measurement. It is a starting point for understanding the coin's physical identity, its place within a lineage, and the subtle variations that can occur from die to die, mint to mint, and year to year. The specific weight of this coin is a point of reference, a benchmark against which rarities and anomalies might be judged. A 1-cent coin that deviates in weight might signal an error, a misstrike, or a clue that something extraordinary and potentially valuable has occurred during its production. Every coin carries with it a symbol of sovereignty and identity. The 1-cent piece carries not only the designation 1 cent, but also the words United States of America, asserting its legitimacy and origin. But beyond text, the imagery is a symbolic language that communicates ideals, heritage, and national memory. On the obverse of the 1981 penny is the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose visage has graced the cent since 1909. Abraham Lincoln is more than an image. He is an emblem of unity, emancipation, and the enduring struggle for justice. His presence on the penny was selected to commemorate his 100th birthday, and for decades since, his likeness has stood as a reminder of the central principles that have shaped the nation. Every glance at that profile is an engagement with history, with the solemn gaze of a leader who navigated the United States through one of its most tumultuous eras. Examining Lincoln's profile on a 1981 cent invites reflection on the artistry of the engraving. The curving lines of his hair, the careful rendering of his beard, the contours of his face. They are sculpted in a way that conveys depth even on the coin's small canvas. The artistic interpretation achieved on a surface barely the size of a thumbnail is something that demands appreciation. The image of Lincoln is not only enduring but instantly recognizable. It connects the everyday act of handing over a 1-cent piece in exchange for goods or change with the deeper narrative of national identity. On the reverse side of the 1981 penny, we find yet another iconic symbol of American identity, the Lincoln Memorial. For the vast majority of coins minted in 1981, the reverse design is the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the earlier wheat ears that appeared on pennies from 1909 to 1958. The Lincoln Memorial was introduced to the cent in 1959 in honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, presenting a detailed architectural rendering of the memorial located on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. The choice of the memorial as the reverse design reinforces the theme of commemoration. It transforms the coin into something more than monetary utility. It becomes a small monument that literally fits into the palm of your hand. The Lincoln Memorial design itself is rich with detail. Though rendered in miniature, the columns and architectural nuances of the actual monument are discernible. Some years ago, in a fascinating quirk, collectors discovered that pennies minted from 1959 to 2008 actually show a tiny image of the seated statue of Lincoln within the memorial's interior, a remarkable feat of minting precision. While you may need a magnifying glass to see it, that small figure reflects the mint's commitment to embedding layered symbolism into its coins. And in the case of the 1981 cent, it is a reminder that even the smallest denomination can carry the weight of artistic complexity. Of course, when we consider the design of the 1981 penny, we are drawn inevitably to the story of how coins serve as historical artifacts. A coin is not merely a medium of exchange, it is a snapshot of a moment in time. The 1981 penny was minted in a period of American history defined by economic transformation, cultural shifts, and changing perspectives on money itself. In the early 1980s, the economy faced high inflation, fluctuating interest rates, and a sense of uncertainty that echoed in everyday life. The penny, in its humble way, moved through pockets and purses as Americans navigated those times. For many, the penny was a practical coin used to make exact change at grocery stores, gas stations, and diners. For others, it was the change jingling in a child's piggy bank, perhaps the first coins a child saved with dreams of purchasing something special. The narrative of a coin's existence also intersects with technology. In the 1970s and into the early 80s, the United States Mint expanded its facilities and modernized its processes. The production of coins like the 1981 cent was part of a highly orchestrated operation involving master dies, hubs, planchette preparation, presses capable of thousands of strikes per hour, and meticulous quality control procedures. Each coin passed through hands and machinery that stretched from Philadelphia to Denver, depending on the mint mark. In 1981, pennies were struck at multiple facilities, and the presence or absence of a mint mark, a small letter indicating where it was made, can significantly affect a coin's desirability among collectors. A D signifies the Denver Mint. A S represents the San Francisco Mint, and the lack of a mint mark typically indicates the Philadelphia Mint. Each of these variations gives collectors categories to explore and pursue. Now, imagine you are a collector who has just acquired a box of 1981 pennies. At first glance, they might look identical, but as you examine them closely under magnification, you might start noticing minute differences in strike quality, surface luster, and even slight variations between coins. This is where the world of numismatics becomes fascinating. Coins, even those from the same year and mint, can exhibit unique characteristics simply because of the nature of the minting process. The dies that imprint the design wear down over time. Slight die cracks. As we move deeper into the world of the 1981 penny, it becomes apparent that every coin carries a story not just of design and production, but also of human experience. Imagine the moment a freshly minted penny leaves the press at the Philadelphia or Denver Mint in 1981. The coin emerges shiny, coppery, with every detail crisp. Abraham Lincoln's profile sharply engraved, the Lincoln Memorial's columns meticulously delineated on the reverse, the lettering precise, and the mint mark small but significant. These coins, newly minted, are packed into rolls and bags, ready to begin a journey through the economy. From bank vaults to cash registers, from the pockets of children to the hands of working adults, Each coin embarks on a path of circulation that may last decades. Some will spend their entire life in circulation, gradually losing their original luster and accumulating wear, while others will find their way into coin albums, envelopes, or collector sets, preserved against time. Collectors often describe coins as frozen moments of history. The 1981 penny is a perfect example. When you hold it, you are holding a small piece of 1981 America. Economically, politically, and culturally, the year 1981 was significant. Ronald Reagan had just assumed the presidency. The country was grappling with inflation and economic uncertainty, and pop culture was experiencing dynamic shifts with the rise of personal computing, music videos, and blockbuster films. In a way, the penny traveled alongside every citizen, silent yet constant, a witness to a nation in flux. It passed from hand to hand, from small transactions to grander exchanges, connecting people across cities, towns, and even borders. Wherever American currency traveled, a fascinating aspect of the 1981 penny is its collectibility. While many pennies from this year are common, certain conditions and varieties create niches of extreme interest among collectors. The concept of coin grading plays a central role here. Professional grading organizations, such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, examine coins for every minute detail, surface wear, luster, strike quality, and even microscopic imperfections. A 1981 penny in mint state condition, one that shows no evidence of wear and retains its original shine, can be significantly more valuable than one that has circulated extensively. Grading creates a spectrum of value. Coins of higher grade are rare because most pennies inevitably experience circulation, acquiring scratches, abrasions, and discoloration over time. The very act of finding a pristine 1981 penny today is like finding a small time capsule that has survived almost 50 years of human use. Another dimension of collectibility comes from variations and errors. The 1981 penny, like all coins, was struck using dies, and no minting process is perfectly uniform. Subtle variations can emerge. Die cracks, doubling, or overstrikes can create coins that are technically errors but extremely prized by collectors. For example, a doubled die penny, where letters or numbers appear slightly doubled, can attract attention from numismatists, sometimes commanding premiums that far exceed typical market expectations. Even minor anomalies, such as tiny differences in the alignment of the obverse and reverse, or slight shifts in mint mark placement, create opportunities for collectors to distinguish one penny from another. It is these anomalies, combined with the artistry and history embedded in the coin, that elevate the 1981 penny from a simple unit of currency to a sought-after collectible. Speaking of mint marks, it is crucial to understand their significance. The 1981 penny was struck at multiple mints, most notably Philadelphia and Denver. A D mint mark denotes Denver, while a Philadelphia penny traditionally has no mint mark. These distinctions are subtle yet immensely important to collectors. They can indicate scarcity, production differences, and sometimes even minor stylistic variations. Certain mints may have produced fewer coins in specific years, and the rarity, combined with condition and potential error, can influence value significantly. Even within a single mint, slight differences in die production or planchet quality may create coins that are distinguishable only under magnification, but which can mean the difference between an ordinary penny and one prized by collectors worldwide. The economic narrative of the penny itself adds another layer of intrigue. In 1981, the composition of the penny was still primarily bronze, 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc. Copper, being a valuable metal, lent the coin a tangible worth that exceeded its face value in certain economic conditions. This is particularly interesting given that the following year, 1982, the mint transitioned most pennies to a copper-plated zinc composition due to rising copper prices. Thus, the 1981 bronze penny represents one of the last years in which this heavier, more substantial composition was standard. For collectors and investors in metals, this composition adds historical significance and a touch of nostalgia, marking the end of an era in penny production. Collectors and numismatists also often appreciate the artistry of the coin beyond its historical and economic value. The sculptor Victor David Brenner's work on the obverse has remained largely unchanged since 1909, yet it continues to command admiration. The precision required to render Abraham Lincoln's likeness on a small, circular planchet is remarkable. Even the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, though often overlooked, showcases intricate architectural detail, with each column and engraved inscription accurately represented at a miniature scale. For enthusiasts, holding a 1981 penny is holding not just currency, but a piece of sculptural art, small in size, but monumental in historical and artistic resonance. Beyond its physical and artistic dimensions, the 1981 penny is also embedded in the cultural imagination. For decades, pennies have been used metaphorically and literally to convey concepts of savings, frugality, and value. A penny saved is a penny earned, and penny for your thoughts are phrases that embed the coin into the language of everyday life. The 1981 penny, as part of this ongoing tradition, is thus both a practical tool and a symbol. For children, it might have been their first coin collection, the beginning of a lifelong hobby. For adults, it might have been part of a savings jar, a tip left behind, or a change given in return for goods. Each penny carries these multiple layers of human experience, bridging generations and social contexts. As we examine market value, it is important to recognize the role of perception in driving interest and price. While the face value of the 1981 penny is 1 cent, the numismatic market assigns value based on rarity, condition, provenance, and even narrative. Stories circulate in the collector community about extraordinary finds, rolls of unsearched coins in attics, envelopes stored for decades, or collections that were forgotten and rediscovered. These stories fuel speculation and desire. A 1981 penny in perfect mint state, especially with a rare die variety or mint mark, could attract buyers willing to pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on demand and the coin's unique characteristics. The imagination of collectors often assigns even greater theoretical value to coins under extraordinary circumstances, feeding the mythology of the big money penny, a humble coin transformed into a treasure. Moreover, the allure of error coins cannot be overstated. The 1981 penny has been documented in some cases with die errors, misstrikes, and anomalies. Some may show doubled letters on the obverse, minor shifts in the alignment of the design, or imperfections in the metal planchet. Each anomaly is a story frozen in metal, a moment when human or mechanical processes diverged from expectation. Numismatists prize these anomalies because they are unique, often unpredictable, and impossible to reproduce exactly. Even a minor die crack or tiny misalignment can elevate a common penny into a collectible sought after by enthusiasts who specialize in error coins. The 1981 penny also has historical significance as part of the broader trajectory of American coinage. Lincoln pennies have circulated continuously for decades, connecting contemporary Americans with the early 20th century, when the design was first introduced. The coin embodies continuity. As we continue our deep dive into the 1981 penny, it is impossible to ignore the fascinating world of rare varieties and anomalies that elevate certain coins well above their common counterparts. Among collectors, even minor variations can be the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth hundreds, thousands, or, in the realm of imagination and high-end numismatic storytelling, a figure so astronomical it captures the public imagination. In 1981, a year defined by economic shifts and technological innovation, the production of pennies followed the precise protocols of the United States Mint. Yet no system, no matter how advanced, is completely immune to subtle inconsistencies, and these inconsistencies are what give coins their intrigue and potential value. Variations such as doubled dies, repunched mint marks, and minor die cracks are more than errors. They are fingerprints of a production process frozen in time, offering collectors tangible evidence of history at the moment of manufacture. Consider the concept of the doubled die. A doubled die occurs when the hub, which imprints the design onto the coin die, slightly shifts or misaligns during the multiple impressions required in die preparation. On a 1981 penny, this could manifest as a doubling of the letters, the numerals and the date, or even portions of Lincoln's profile. To the untrained eye, these differences may appear nearly imperceptible, but under magnification, the effect becomes unmistakable. Collectors prize these coins because they represent a rare moment of imperfection in a highly controlled production process. Each double-die coin tells a story about the mechanics of minting, the forces of metal, and the minute errors that create uniqueness in what otherwise seems uniform. The 1981 penny has recorded instances of slight die doubling, and while none are as famous as the 1955 double-die Lincoln cent, they remain a focus for collectors who specialize in varieties from that era. Another fascinating category is repunched mint marks, where the small letter indicating the mint of origin has been punched more than once on the die, slightly misaligned. While rarer in modern pennies than in older coins, such anomalies still occur and are carefully documented in numismatic references. A 1981 penny with a clear repunched D for Denver, for example, could command collector attention because it is demonstrably different from the millions of standard strikes produced that year. Even subtle variations like these are part of the allure, feeding both academic interest and the thrill of discovery. Collectors often scour rolls of coins specifically to identify such anomalies, seeking to find what others might overlook. Die cracks and planchet errors also contribute to the rich tapestry of 1981 penny collectibility. A die crack occurs when the metal die used to strike the coin develops a fissure, which then appears as a raised line on the coin itself. Planchet errors occur when the blank metal disc is imperfect, sometimes missing a portion, exhibiting lamination defects, or being struck off-center. Each of these errors is inherently unpredictable, making them rare and desirable to collectors. The stories of coins being discovered decades later, tucked in change jars or rolled tightly in forgotten envelopes, give life to the numismatic narrative. These discoveries feed both the academic study of minting processes and the emotional thrill of finding a unique piece of history. The 1981 penny's composition, primarily bronze with 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, adds another dimension of interest. Collectors and investors pay attention to metal content not only for historical reasons, but also because copper itself has fluctuated in market value over the decades. In 1981, the intrinsic copper content made the penny slightly more valuable as a metal than its face value in certain contexts, foreshadowing the mint's transition to copper-plated zinc in 1982. This transition marked a significant moment in United States coinage, giving the 1981 bronze pennies a special place as some of the last heavy copper cents widely circulated. For collectors, this is more than a chemical fact. It is a connection to history, to the global metals market of the early 1980s, and to the broader story of the United States mint adapting to economic pressures. Beyond material composition, the market for 1981 pennies is shaped by condition and grade. The concept of grading coins was formalized to provide a standardized assessment of condition and value. A coin graded MS65 or higher, for example, exhibits exceptional luster and minimal contact marks, a coin almost pristine despite decades of existence. High-grade 1981 pennies are surprisingly rare because these coins circulated widely, meaning that most examples have some degree of wear, toning, or minor blemishes. The rarity of high-grade specimens drives their market value, creating opportunities for collectors to invest strategically. Condition becomes a lens through which history and human experience converge. Each pristine coin represents a series of fortunate circumstances. It was never lost, never heavily circulated, never damaged. Provenance further influences market perception. Coins that have been part of prominent collections, documented in numismatic publications, or verified through reputable grading services acquire an aura of legitimacy and prestige. A 1981 penny that has passed through the hands of notable collectors or been featured in exhibitions can command a premium. This intersection of history, rarity, and story is central to the coin's allure, transforming it from a simple unit of currency into a collector's object, a tangible connection to the broader narrative of American numismatics. The potential for discovery, to find a coin that exhibits an error, has high-grade preservation, or comes from a notable provenance, fuels collector passion and encourages careful, patient examination of every penny. The psychological dimension of collecting the 1981 penny cannot be understated. There is a universal appeal in holding a coin that is at once ordinary and potentially extraordinary. Every collector dreams of that moment when a seemingly mundane coin reveals a rare anomaly, a condition grade far above expectation, or a story that connects it to larger historical or economic significance. It is the thrill of discovery, the joy of understanding, and the satisfaction of being part of a tradition that spans generations. Collectors often report an emotional attachment to coins, describing them as small but powerful symbols of history, art, and continuity. From an investment perspective, the 1981 penny provides an interesting case study. While most circulated examples remain at face value, high-grade or error examples can appreciate significantly over time. The coin's durability, wide recognition, and cultural resonance make it a stable, tangible collectible. Unlike paper currency, which can degrade or be mismanaged, coins are inherently durable and portable. They also allow collectors to explore incremental investment strategies, acquiring multiple examples of a given year. When we examine the 1981 penny from the perspective of auctions and high-end collecting, the narrative becomes even richer and more compelling. While millions of pennies from that year were minted and circulated, certain specimens occasionally surface that capture attention far beyond their nominal value. Auction houses, both online and traditional, offer a window into how collectors perceive coins like the 1981 cent. In these venues, a coin's story often becomes as important as its physical attributes. Coins accompanied by verified provenance, historical documentation, or a fascinating error can generate intense bidding wars. Even within the seemingly ordinary 1981 penny category, subtle differences in strike quality, luster, or die characteristics can transform a coin from an everyday object into a collector's treasure. Famous collector finds of 1981 pennies illustrate the thrill of discovery. Some enthusiasts have reported finding near-perfect specimens in rolls of circulated coins. Others have discovered coins with minor die doubling or other anomalies that distinguish them from the millions of standard examples. Imagine unrolling a stack of pennies from a bank and spotting a coin with sharper details, deeper luster, and subtle anomalies that signal a unique variety. Such a find is often described by collectors as electrifying, the moment when years of casual observation or dedicated searching culminate in a tangible reward. These experiences are a cornerstone of numismatic culture, blending luck, patience, and knowledge. The comparative market analysis of the 1981 penny further illuminates its place among United States coinage. When contrasted with pennies from earlier decades, particularly the wheat cent era or the early Lincoln Memorial cents, the 1981 penny may seem ordinary at first glance. However, it occupies a unique niche as one of the last bronze pennies before the transition to copper-plated zinc. Collectors seeking to assemble a complete set of Lincoln Memorial cents or a timeline of bronze pennies inevitably include the 1981 coin, reinforcing its desirability. Additionally, the sheer volume of coins minted does not diminish the value of high-grade examples, which remain scarce precisely because circulation inevitably diminishes condition over time. The scarcity of mint state or high-grade examples in collections and auctions ensures that these coins maintain a steady, often appreciating market value. Collector tips for acquiring 1981 pennies can be surprisingly detailed, reflecting the depth of the hobby. Enthusiasts often start by examining rolls of coins from banks, carefully inspecting each penny under magnification. Key attributes to assess include surface luster, where on Lincoln's cheek, hairlines, and beard, and the clarity of the Lincoln Memorial's columns on the reverse. Inspecting the mint mark is also critical. Variations in the D or S mint marks, or even their precise placement, can indicate subtle differences in production batches. Patience is paramount. Collectors often report sorting through hundreds or thousands of coins to find a single high-grade or error specimen. The process itself becomes part of the enjoyment, cultivating attention to detail and a deeper understanding of minting processes. High-value scenarios for the 1981 penny revolve largely around condition, error, and provenance. A penny in pristine mint state, graded by a reputable agency such as PCGS or NGC, can command a premium. Error coins, such as minor doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes, may be even more desirable. Coins with provenance, for example, from a well-known collection or previously auctioned lot, often fetch higher prices due to the verification and historical narrative attached. Even slight anomalies, when documented and recognized within numismatic references, can significantly enhance value. These considerations illustrate how the market for 1981 pennies is not just about rarity and quantity, but rarity in quality, uniqueness, and historical context. The story of the 1981 penny also intersects with broader economic and historical narratives. In the early 1980s, the United States economy was experiencing high inflation, changing interest rates, and shifts in monetary policy. Coins, including the penny, were part of everyday transactions that reflected these macroeconomic forces. The transition from bronze to copper-plated zinc in 1982, prompted by rising copper prices, underscores how market forces shape coinage. The 1981 penny, as a final representative of the heavier bronze composition, becomes an artifact marking this turning point. Collectors value it not only for condition or error potential, but also as a symbol of a transitional era in U.S. currency production. Auction dynamics provide additional insight into how the 1981 penny is valued. Coins with exceptional condition, interesting anomalies, or verified provenance often generate significant bidding interest. Online platforms allow collectors worldwide to participate, creating competitive markets and sometimes leading to surprising outcomes. Even though most 1981 pennies remain common, the combination of high-grade preservation, documented rarity, and collector interest can produce remarkable results. The stories circulating within numismatic communities about hidden treasures and extraordinary finds contribute to the mythology of the penny, inspiring collectors to continue searching and studying. Furthermore, the educational value of the 1981 penny cannot be overstated. Collectors learn about metallurgy, minting technology, die preparation, error classification, grading systems, and historical context. Each coin offers a tangible connection to these concepts, making the hobby intellectually engaging as well as emotionally satisfying. Studying a 1981 penny cultivates skills in observation, critical thinking, historical analysis, and market evaluation. Enthusiasts often describe the process of learning about a single coin's subtleties as a gateway to understanding the broader world of numismatics, including rare coins from other years, denominations, and metals. Cultural and artistic significance also contribute to the penny's value. Victor David Brenner's obverse design of Lincoln remains one of the most iconic coin portraits in U.S. history. The attention to detail, from Lincoln's profile to the contours of his hair and beard, reflects a high level of craftsmanship. The Lincoln Memorial reverse is not merely a backdrop. It is a miniature monument, meticulously engraved to capture the essence of the structure. In Washington, D.C., collectors and historians alike appreciate the artistry embedded in these designs, recognizing the intersection of aesthetic value and historical commemoration. The 1981 penny, in this light, is both a piece of currency and a work of miniature art. The intersection of rarity, condition, error, provenance, and artistry ensures that the 1981 penny maintains relevance in collector markets. Even decades after its initial circulation, these coins continue to inspire discovery and fascination. While ordinary examples remain accessible and widely available, high-grade or error coins present opportunities for investment, study, and storytelling. They serve as reminders that even the smallest, most common objects can harbor layers of complexity, potential, and meaning. In the world of numismatics, the 1981 penny exemplifies how careful observation, knowledge, and patience can transform a humble coin into a prized collectible. Finally, the 1981 penny embodies continuity and connection. It links contemporary collectors to the historical narrative of the United States, to the artistry of Victor David Brenner, and to the production history of the mint during a time of economic and technological transition. Every coin carries with it traces of human experience, transactions, savings, discoveries, and passions, making it more than metal. It is a vessel of history, culture, and imagination. From the perspective of collectors, the 1981 penny is both familiar and endlessly fascinating, a coin that rewards study, preservation, and appreciation. In its copper surface, precise engravings, and rich historical context, it offers lessons about value, scarcity, art, and human curiosity. illustrating why even the smallest denomination can hold immense significance for those who seek to uncover its secrets. As we delve further into the world of 1981 pennies, one of the most fascinating aspects for collectors is the occurrence of error coins. Error coins are anomalies that happen during the minting process, creating coins that deviate from the standard design. For the 1981 penny, common errors include off-center strikes, doubled dies, repunched mint marks, and planchet imperfections. Off-center strikes occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned within the coin press, resulting in a portion of the design being cut off. These errors are visually striking, often creating a dramatic shift in the coin's appearance. Collectors prize them not only for their rarity, but for the story they tell about the minting process. A brief moment when precision and machinery faltered, leaving behind a unique piece of history. Double dies are another error type with significant collector appeal. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives multiple impressions with slight misalignment, producing the effect of doubled lettering, numbers, or design elements. While not all 1981 pennies exhibit dramatic doubling, subtle doubled dies can be found in certain batches. Identifying these requires careful inspection, often with magnification and a detailed understanding of known die varieties. Even a minor instance of doubling can elevate the coin's desirability, as collectors appreciate both the rarity and the technical explanation behind it. Repunched mint marks are yet another source of collector intrigue. A repunched mint mark occurs when the mint mark, such as a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, is punched more than once into the die, resulting in slight misalignment. While subtle, these variations are significant to specialized collectors. Detecting a repunched mint mark can be the difference between owning a standard circulated penny and a coin that is recognized in numismatic references as a distinct variety. For the 1981 penny, these varieties are rare but documented, and they represent an area where careful observation and expertise can yield rewarding discoveries. Planchet errors and lamination flaws add further layers of intrigue. Occasionally, the coin blank or planchet contains impurities or experiences bonding failures in the metal layers, resulting in raised defects, flakes, or thin areas on the coin's surface. In other cases, planchets may be improperly prepared, leading to broad strikes or clipped edges. Each of these anomalies represents a moment in production where the standard process was disrupted. Collectors value these coins not only for their rarity, but also for the way they document the physical realities of minting, offering a glimpse behind the scenes of the mint's industrial operation. Famous sales of 1981 pennies, while often modest compared to historically significant rarities, illustrate the potential market interest in these coins. Coins in exceptional mint state grades, or those with verifiable errors, can attract competitive bidding. High-grade 1981 pennies, especially those graded MS65 or above, often sell for multiples of face value, demonstrating the importance of preservation. In rare cases where an error is pronounced, such as a notable doubled die or off-center strike, coins have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. These sales underscore the value of careful examination, knowledge of grading systems, and the patience to acquire coins with desirable characteristics. Advanced grading nuances further shape the market for 1981 pennies. Grading is not merely about wear. It also considers strike quality, luster, surface blemishes, toning, and overall eye appeal. Two coins with the same nominal grade may still have different market values depending on these subtleties. A coin with strong luster, sharp details, and pleasing coloration can command a higher price than another with the same grade, but slightly dull surfaces or minor contact marks. Professional grading services assign numerical grades and provide authentication, offering collectors confidence in their acquisitions and facilitating higher value transactions in auctions and private sales. Investment potential is a compelling aspect of the 1981 penny, particularly for high-grade examples and coins exhibiting errors. While ordinary circulated coins remain at or near face value, the scarcity of pristine examples ensures a steady demand. Over time, as coins continue to circulate and high-grade specimens become increasingly rare, their value can appreciate significantly. Investors often view coins as tangible assets that combine historical significance, aesthetic appeal, and scarcity, all factors that contribute to potential long-term value. The 1981 penny, particularly in exceptional condition or with documented error, fits this profile, making it attractive for both collectors and investors seeking to diversify tangible asset holdings. Speculative high-value scenarios, such as the notion of a 1981 penny being worth $242 million, while not grounded in documented auction records, highlight the aspirational and imaginative aspects of numismatics. Collectors are often drawn to the possibility that a seemingly ordinary coin could conceal extraordinary value, whether through an unprecedented error, perfect preservation, or unique provenance. These scenarios inspire collectors to examine coins carefully, maintain meticulous records, and explore historical documentation in pursuit of discovery. The narrative of potential wealth, combined with the historical and aesthetic significance of the coin, drives engagement, research, and passion within the collector community. The 1981 penny also exemplifies the interplay between commonality and rarity. Millions were minted, yet the convergence of perfect condition, varieties, and documented errors ensures that each exceptional coin is unique. This duality, where the ordinary coexists with the extraordinary, is central to the appeal of coin collecting. It illustrates how careful observation, knowledge, and patience can transform a mundane object into a prized artifact. Collectors often describe this as the thrill of the hunt, where the excitement lies not just in possession but in discovery and understanding. Cultural significance continues to enhance the penny's allure. Abraham Lincoln's profile, representing leadership, emancipation, and national unity, connects the coin to a broader historical narrative. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse reinforces this connection, creating a tangible symbol of commemoration and respect. Collectors and historians alike appreciate the continuity of design, which links the 1981 penny to over 7 decades of Lincoln cents. The coin serves as a bridge between generations, offering both educational opportunities and aesthetic enjoyment. Market trends also influence the 1981 penny's desirability. Online auctions, coin forums, and social media communities have transformed the way collectors interact, share knowledge, and buy or sell coins. As we reach the final chapter in our journey with the 1981 penny, it is crucial to reflect on the broader historical and cultural context that surrounds this small but significant coin. The early 1980s were a period of economic challenge in the United States. Inflation was high, interest rates fluctuated, and the country was navigating the aftershocks of energy crises and changing global markets. In this climate, everyday currency like the penny assumed a dual role. It was both a medium of exchange and a symbol of continuity. The 1981 penny, striking in bronze and bearing the timeless image of Abraham Lincoln, represented stability in a world of economic uncertainty. Each coin passed from hand to hand, from city to town, from generation to generation, silently recording the daily life of ordinary Americans while preserving the artistry and craftsmanship of the mint. Stories of penny hoarding during this era further highlight the coin's cultural significance. Some families preserved rolls of pennies as part of savings habits, storing them in jars, envelopes, or hidden drawers. Children collected pennies as part of early numismatic interest, trading them for toys, candy, or simply keeping them as treasures. In many cases, these collections remained untouched for decades, allowing high-grade specimens to survive the wear and tear of circulation. Rediscovery of such hoarded coins has fueled the fascination with the 1981 penny, as collectors uncover rolls containing uncirculated coins, sometimes with subtle errors or exceptionally well-preserved surfaces. These hoarding stories underscore how human behavior, combined with chance, can result in the preservation of rare numismatic treasures. Comparisons with modern pennies illustrate the unique value of the 1981 coin. Today, most pennies are composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, a transition that began in 1982. Modern pennies are lighter, less substantial, and carry less intrinsic metal value. The 1981 penny, by contrast, retains its full bronze composition, weighing slightly more and possessing a warm, coppery tone that has aged gracefully over time. Collectors and investors note this distinction as a key factor in the coin's desirability, emphasizing that it represents the end of an era in minting practices. Beyond composition, The artistry and engraving detail of the 1981 penny remain remarkable, with Lincoln's portrait and the memorial reverse capturing a level of precision and elegance that is often less pronounced in contemporary issues. The market potential of the 1981 penny continues to intrigue both collectors and numismatic enthusiasts. While most examples remain at or near face value, high-grade coins, error coins, and rare varieties occupy a niche market where values can rise substantially. Professional grading provides assurance, allowing collectors to confidently invest in coins that demonstrate superior preservation or documented anomalies. The speculative narrative of extraordinary valuation, sometimes imagined in figures like $242 million, illustrates the aspirational side of numismatics. Even if number 1981 penny has ever reached such a figure in reality, the story itself captures the imagination and drives continued interest, study, and appreciation. Collectors are drawn to the combination of rarity, history, artistry, and potential for discovery, reinforcing the coin's place as both a cultural artifact and an investment object. The 1981 penny also highlights the broader lesson of numismatics. That value is not solely intrinsic, but is shaped by history, perception, and human engagement. Coins are tangible links to the past, snapshots of the social, economic, and artistic world at the time of their creation. The 1981 penny embodies the story of the early 1980s, connecting collectors to a period of economic challenge, technological change, and cultural evolution. Each scratch, patina, or subtle die variation is a chapter in that story, inviting study, admiration, and preservation. In this way, the penny transcends its role as mere currency, becoming a symbol of human ingenuity, continuity, and appreciation for the small details that carry extraordinary significance. The enduring appeal of the 1981 penny lies in its multifaceted significance. It is a coin that educates, fascinates, and inspires. From understanding the minting process and grading systems to appreciating the artistry and historical context, collectors gain knowledge and experience through engagement with even the smallest denominations. Stories of hoarded rolls, discovered errors, and auction success reinforce the idea that ordinary objects can carry extraordinary potential, both culturally and financially. The coin serves as a reminder that attention, patience, and passion can uncover hidden treasures, turning everyday currency into prized artifacts that span generations. A final reflection. The 1981 penny represents more than its face value. It is a witness to history, a work of miniature art, a subject of scholarly study, and a source of collector enthusiasm. Its bronze composition, detailed design, potential for error, and preserved high-grade examples make it a compelling collectible. Whether circulated in commerce, preserved in a collection, or studied by enthusiasts, the coin embodies a narrative of continuity, connection, and discovery. The 1981 penny may be small in size, but it is immense in significance, offering lessons about history, economics, artistry, and human curiosity. It stands as a testament to the enduring allure of coins, the fascination of numismatics, and the potential for extraordinary value hidden in the most ordinary of objects. In conclusion, the 1981 United States 1-cent coin is a remarkable example of how a humble coin can carry vast historical, cultural, artistic, and financial significance. From its role in everyday transactions to its place in high-grade collections, from hoarding stories to auction narratives, the penny offers a wealth of lessons and inspiration. Its enduring appeal, potential for discovery, and connection to the broader narrative of American coinage make it a coin worth studying, preserving, and appreciating. As collectors and enthusiasts continue to explore the world of numismatics, the 1981 penny remains a symbol of the extraordinary potential that lies within the smallest denominations, reminding us that even 1 cent can tell a story that spans decades, captivates imaginations, and holds meaning far beyond its modest face value.